to talk about the new ruling that happened in a district court, where the court found that this needed to be stopped for right now. That's called an injunctive relief. So I'm trying not to be too legalese. I'm trying to really think about my words here, because I want to speak to you with layperson terms. I don't want to get too legalese. I want it to be digestible and understandable. So in this recent court case on December 3rd, the judge did issue what's called an injunctive release, which means we're going to put a hold on all of this. There's a deadline coming up, January 1st, 2025, where any individual that has the business entity formed through the Secretary of State in the U.S. has to file a beneficial ownership information report. I don't want to get all into that. I do have several videos on what the CTA is. I have videos on what needs to be reported, how it needs to be reported, when it needs to be reported. I don't want to get into that here. But on my YouTube channel, Seek Elevation, ELLAVATION, you can go look at those videos. But here, I want to talk about, the judge said, let's put a stop to this. And the reason why the judge did that is because the plaintiffs, there were 6 plaintiffs, one individual and 5 entities that brought this to the court. And they said, listen, we feel like this is unconstitutional for us to be forced to do this. Again, this is not new that these plaintiffs have done this. Other individuals have done the same exact thing. But where this is different from other court cases is one of the plaintiffs is a company or entity called the National Federation of Independent Business, the NFIB. And the NFIB has 3,000, I believe, other entities that it services. So because it has other entities, other businesses that it services in different states, however the judge was going to rule in this court case was going to affect everyone nationally. Whereas previous court cases, when the plaintiff, the business or the individual brought this in front of the judge, that ruling only affected the state in which they were in. But this ruling is national. So this injunctive relief, again, meaning this halt, this stay is what we call it legally, that was put against the federal government, is going to affect all of us nationally. And what the judge looked at is the Constitution. They looked at the 10th Amendment. Now, the plaintiffs brought this to the court, and they said that it violates the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Ninth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, but the court said we don't have to look at all the other ones. We're going to look at the 10th Amendment, which says federal has its power, states have its power. That's federalism. There's certain things that the federal level governs, and there's certain things that the state level should be able to govern on their own. And in this case, when the judge assessed all the facts, the judge looked at it and said, we feel as though the federal government is overstepping its boundaries by forcing each state to comply with this federal law. So that's where the judge said, let's put a stop to this until we can iron it out. So what I want to really point out is in this court case, although we have an injunctive release, meaning you do not, if you have not filed yet, and the deadline is January 1st, 2025, you do not have to file. You do not. If you already filed, I mean, you already did it. But if you did not file, you don't have to file yet until they continue to iron this out. So the question I get is, if we don't have to file, does this mean we don't have to file for good? No, it doesn't. This case right now just says everything is being put on hold until we really iron out the constitutionality of this federal law.